Hi friends, today I am sharing one of my favorite trip planning hacks with you. I have used this to plan everything from simple day trips to a 2-week adventure around Europe. And I've used a variety of trip planner websites such as Road Trippers and Wanderlog, and those definitely have their uses. I used the Plus version of Road Trippers to plan my cross-country road trip from North Carolina to Washington State and back a few years ago, and it was super helpful. But I keep coming back to this free and easy method, and that is Google My Maps. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Maddie, and I share videos about adventure travel, solo travel, hiking, camping, and that sort of thing. So if that interests you, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I am relatively new here to YouTube at least, but those are my intentions for this channel. Oh, and as a bonus, I am going to give you the link to the map we create together today, which is going to be an Asheville itinerary/guide. So if you are planning a trip there in the future, you might find that helpful, and I will make sure that is linked in the description box for you. All right, so we're just going to start by searching Google My Maps, and then you want this mymaps.google.com, and you'll need a Google account. And then when you pull this up, it will show you all the past maps you've created. So here are some of the maps I've created in the past. We are going to create a new map, and then I'm going to title this Asheville Travel Guide because that's the map we're creating together today. Before we get into the Asheville Travel Guide, I want to show a few examples of maps I have created in the past. So this particular map is for Cashers, North Carolina. It's an area I'm pretty familiar with, but I do day trips here often. So it's nice to see the layout of different hikes, restaurants, that sort of thing in this area. And in this case, I have the layers. So here's a layer, here's a layer, here's a layer. So I have one for hikes, restaurants, and lodging on this map, but I have done it differently on other maps, and I'll show you another one where I did the layers by day, and that's pretty much up to your preference. But I'm a visual person, so seeing everything laid out in front of me is really helpful, and it helps me be more efficient with my time. So I would maybe do this hike and then this hike instead of going over here and over here and then over here and backtracking a lot. So it is very helpful for that. And then here's another example. This is from a Hawaii trip I went on last year where I used the layers to plan by the day. So day one was dedicated to the North Shore, and I even put the pins in order. So I knew I wanted to start at this temple and then go to this state park and work my way along the North Shore. And then day two was down towards Honolulu. So I have all those pins put in there, and I color coded it as well to make it easier to differentiate between day one and day two. For the Asheville Travel Guide, I figured we would set it up by category as far as like things to do, restaurants, that sort of thing, because I'm sure not everyone would want to schedule their days the same way I would. And I think this will just be more flexible since I'm going to end up linking this in the description box. So that's how we're going to do this together. This method is probably best for people who like to do their own research and then pull everything together and organize it. So it doesn't give you recommendations like Google Maps or even Road Trippers, but I am going to start with restaurants as our first layer because let's be real, that's the most important layer. And so you're planning a trip to Asheville, you've done a little bit of research, and you know that you want to go to Pax Tavern at some point. It's a really good spot downtown. Red Ginger is another great spot downtown. So we'll add that. And then maybe Rocky's Hot Chicken. And we'll add that. There's a couple different locations, but we'll just add this one. It is a little hard to see the pins with everything else. So you can go into it and click on this little paint can. You can change the color, you can change the icon. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that so these are a little bit easier to see. And if you want, you can go to the base map and then use the simple atlas tool to only see your pins, but I don't love how this looks, and you can always switch it back to map by doing this. Since I'm linking this in the description box, I will probably go back and add to it. I just don't want this video to be ridiculously long. So if you pull up this map and it looks different, that is why. But it wouldn't be a trip to Asheville without visiting some breweries. So we're gonna add a brewery layer. It will default to adding pins to whatever layer you are in. So that is indicated by this little blue line here. but it's easy to move stuff around if you put it in the wrong place. I went ahead and added some more layers, so now we have a visual of how everything looks and can make some decisions when it comes to how we want to plan our trip. Maybe one day we want to hang out north of Asheville on the Blue Ridge Parkway and visit Craggy Gardens and Mount Mitchell. Another great thing you can do is add details. So if you go to this little pencil, you can add links or any helpful information. So if it was a hotel, maybe you want to add the check-in time. For hikes, I like to add a link to the all trail so I can easily click and see how long the hike is, the difficulty, all of that information. Maybe you want to spend another day south of Asheville in the Brevard area. There are tons of beautiful waterfalls and mountain hikes down this way. And then another day in the Asheville area, exploring the River Arts District, trying new restaurants, maybe even touring Biltmore. Like I said, I will have this linked in the description box in case you are planning a trip to Asheville in the future and want to use this for reference. I wanted to share some pros and cons associated with this method, as well as what I think are some useful tips for planning trips with Google My Maps. So you cannot create these types of maps with your phone. However, you can access them from your phone, which is nice. So you would just go into the Google Maps app and then go to Saved, and then go to Maps, and it'll pull up all of your maps that you've created with Google My Maps. However, these types of maps do not work offline, which is a huge con in my opinion, and I wish Google would allow these to work in that way. Another con with Google My Maps is that there's no real easy way to see drive times or distances between destinations. I suggest using Google Maps for that. I have it pulled up here. This is actually a road trip I did a few years ago from North Carolina to Glacier National Park, where I stopped at Indiana Dunes National Park and Badlands National Park along the way. It was amazing. Google Maps is very helpful for seeing drive times and distances between destinations. You can also use it to find campgrounds or hotels along your route. So you can do this and then figure out where you want to stay and then add everything to your Google My Maps. But the pros are that the maps are super customizable and easy to share with others. So if I set this map up and then decided that I actually wanted it to be laid out by days, it's very easy to change the names of the layers and shift stuff around. And if I wanted to share it, I just go to this share button and I can make it so that anyone with this link can view, which is what I'll do for this map. But if you wanted to keep it to yourself, you can totally do that too, or choose to share it with select people. And then it will show you, these are just my views because I haven't shared it with anyone yet. I would love to hear how you plan your trips. If you plan your trips, let me know in the comments. It would make my little type A heart so happy. And if you enjoyed this video, you can give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.